All right, and we are live. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you reside in the world. I know that's like my opening line here. Maybe I'll come up with something different eventually. But how's everyone doing? Good to see everyone. Today's session, we're just going to be, going over the usual. If you guys aren't familiar with me and how I trade the ABC strategy, but on the, I guess, on the manual side. Um, and we kind of look for opportunities that the market gives us through identifying trends in groups of threes, trying to trade reversals and continuations of larger trends. So if you guys are new to this session today, or if you're just popping in, you're new and you haven't seen me before, yeah, we're going to be going over the strategy. And if you guys have any questions regarding the TA, the setups I'm looking for, and just it could be trading in general too, how I structure my trades, stop losses, risk, all that, anything in between. Feel free to ask throughout, any point throughout this session. I'm going to be keeping my eye out on chat here on the YouTube and Twitch end. So if you guys are popping in from that side of the stream, please feel free to ask, as well as I'll pop in and check Discord once in a while just to make sure I didn't miss any questions on that end. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started here. First things first, we're just going to start with BTC. And we're just going to go over a couple things. First is what I like to do is I like to go over the larger picture. Now, when doing so, like I said, I try to categorize it could be larger trends, smaller trends, trends in groups of threes to try to time either reversals or try to catch continuations of larger trends. In this case, possibly the continuation of the bear market, or try to catch the reversal and going into the possible next bull market. But long story short, that's the two main goals of how we do things. We either catch reversals or catch continuations. In this case, we have a larger A to a B to a C. All right. And then within that C wave, something I like to identify is ABCs within Cs to try to catch a reversal once the C leg is way overextended past the A. How we do things is give you a quick synopsis is we're identifying trends in groups of threes. All right. And then there's two different directions. There's bullish setups and bearish setups. Right. So on the setup to the left here, where you have an ABC to the upside, this is going to be a bearish setup. So basically what you're waiting for is once you identify an uptrend, you're looking for a pullback trend, and then you're waiting for a continuation, and you're looking for price to get back above the point of the A, all right, or the peak of the A wave here. Once that happens, you're waiting for price to come down and ultimately reverse and put it in come back below the region of the A. And the goal is to set up a trade around the pivot of the A and try to catch the short, try to catch continuation of or reversal of a downtrend here. Vice versa when it comes to longs. So you guys are going to be seeing. I should have done that. Same things when it comes to long positions, just backwards. We're looking for a bullish reversal here. So once the price puts in a downtrend, a retest uptrend, and then a continuation of a downtrend. Once price gets back below the A, we're just waiting for a reversal, and we're trying to take a long position once price crosses the origin of the A, and we're just waiting for price to kind of reverse and continue upward. Or the situations to where we can use ABCs to catch continuations. I'll go ahead and go over that, or I'll go show you some examples of that as well as we're going through this. But one of the things, on the basic scale, that's what we're looking for. There's a couple different things that we apply to how we do things. Primarily, we're just looking for ABCs, and sometimes, if I say we're looking for an ABC within the C, a lot of the times is if we could see that the C wave is overextended past the origin of the A in this case, which is this low here, all right, at about 32,900. We have to go ahead and try to ride the reversal of the larger C wave to try to catch a better entry to catch the reversal of the larger trend. Okay. In that case, that's around that 17,600. And then, we can dive a little bit deeper and try to catch or identify the even, I guess, lower entries of this setup here. But once that's the case, once we identify our structures and our pivots, we can go ahead and try to identify what could be going on. And try to at least not, I wouldn't say predict, but come up with a different couple scenarios to try to um, navigate the market as it's developing here. So we identify that ABC as a larger structure. Now the question is that the end of something or the beginning of something? There's a couple different things I've been thinking about over the past couple weeks as price has been developing up in this region. Um, and I'll kind of show you guys what I concluded to. One of the things I'm thinking about is that ABC, which I did identified in the beginning, could be a beginning of a larger A. We're coming up, putting in a larger B, and then we're going to come down and put a continuation lower, a much larger, I guess, yeah, much larger group of trends here. Kind of comparable to the size of what happened in the previous bull market, where we had a uptrend, a reversal, a pullback, and then a larger continuation before ultimately reversing into the bear market. Ideally, that'll probably be the best case scenario, but that'll be the best structure to look for, in my opinion. Doesn't necessarily have to happen, but based on what I'm seeing and how I'm playing this, I personally think that this could be the healthiest setup. Doesn't mean I'm dead set on this. I'm open to different options. Let's go over those different options here. For me personally, there's a couple different things you can look for as well. One of the things is maybe this ABC is the bottom, right? And maybe how we're developing in this structure is something maybe like an A to a B to a C. And maybe this is going to be part of a larger A wave. We're coming down for a B wave and then continuation higher. Something to go ahead and either push us through and create a new bull market, or create new highs. That's one of the things I'm also looking for, or could be identifying as a possibility. Or maybe we just, put in maybe that same kind of situation, but maybe we just continue pumping. Maybe we're doing something like a larger A to a B to a C here, and then it's gonna put in maybe a much larger sideways setup to where maybe we do put in all-time highs, but it might take us a while for us to do that. And we might be kind of playing in the larger range. That's something I'm identifying as a possibility as well. But for me, the main two points that I'm focusing on is most likely that either this is the beginning of a larger structure or this is the end of the bear market. If that being said, if that is the case, the bullish pivot to maintain above is at 17,600. And from there, we can go ahead and kind of work our way down into a smaller perspective and work on the smaller setups here and try to do our best to navigate what possibly could be going on here. So for me personally, we're going to be focusing just on I guess, a more recent area of price action just to show you what I'm seeing, what could be happening. We do have a larger A to a B to a C coming off of this structure here. And then within the C wave, like I said, the C wave is very extended past the origin of the A. So we kind of have to focus on this area of price action and see if we can identify a structure here. Me personally, this is not the cleanest setup. This is a very trendy, or I guess this is a very trendy, I guess, area of price action here, to where we don't really get a clear separation in trend from my perspective. It looks like we just kind of consolidate, squeeze, put in a higher high, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Eventually, we found I'm not sure. We can go ahead and talk about this area here shortly, but ultimately, I'm looking for this. And then once you go to a 30-minute, I'm just going to delete the yellow line just to clear things up here. But for me personally, we could be looking at something like this as well, where we have a larger A to a B to a C. All right. If that is the case, and we're kind of squeezing and ending at this top of the range up here, the pivot to maintain below for me is around that 23,379. As long as we're below that, you guys should be, I would say you guys should be, but I will be shorting, or I will continue to hold a bearish bias if we continue to maintain below. Let me just do this quick. There you go. To maintain below this pivot here. like I said, which is around 23,379. So as long as we could stay below that, things are looking pretty, I would say not bearish, but at least we're due for a pullback, in my opinion. Um, I know some people use different metrics to try to gauge this. I personally try not to. One of the things I will take a look at, which I'll show you guys here, just a kind of a, it's not a main reason why I'm bearish. I'm mostly focused on the actual setup itself. But sometimes you might find a couple of things that could back up a bias you have. It's something I not normally do, but someone brought this to my attention, which I think is kind of worth looking at here. Um, this is something different than what I usually do, but I will show you guys this as an example. Every once in a while, it's my keyboard not going to work. Come on. Hit everything like 3 times. There we go. The RSI. I don't normally do this, but I will look at this to see every once in a while just to see how price is behaving up in certain regions. But one thing I will show you guys, just as a reason why I'm looking for shorts up in this region, I'm not necessarily giving up and not just remaining a permeable, is first of all, one of the things I do is I change the settings on my RSI just to show that it, oh, okay. That's a big RSI length. Why is this 25? All right, what this does is when you change the value of the RSI to 125, it mimics price action pretty well. But what it does that's different is that it'll show divergences where it actually matters. As you can see, there's a couple of things to keep an eye on. I am using this as kind of a reasoning to show that I think price is topping out. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm holding this to a T or I'm not maintaining a complete bearish bias because of this. This is something I will take a look at every once in a while. Like I said, you guys can do so as well. But to me and how I do things, I do not allow indicators like this to give me trade setups, but I will use it kind of to show me, hey, am I on the right track? And to me, the RSI is it's showing a very strong bearish divergence. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to go ahead and just fall off a cliff, but I think we're definitely due for a pullback here. Just a quick little side note in case you guys are interested in looking at this. If you guys do decide to take a look at the RSI, one thing or two things. One is don't let this don't allow this to I guess make you take trading decisions you would normally take. In this case, if RSI shows a divergence, but we don't have an ABC, I would not be touching that. As well as you can kind of use this to gauge if you're on the right track. Like in this case, like I said, I'm holding a little bit of a bearish bias. I'm not looking for a complete reversal, but I think we're due for a larger pullback. And this kind of backs up that idea. So just a little side tangent, something a little different. If you guys have any questions on if you guys are interested in using something like the RSI along that, I will give you guys a couple pointers. Like I said, not my thing. Some people in my community, some people here do use RSI on other indicators. Unfortunately, I can't give you the best route of which is the best to take. All I'm saying is you guys should be prioritizing ABCs. And if you guys do want to trade the style, you guys should be prioritizing ABCs and don't let indicators skew or sway your decisions otherwise. Anyway, going back to what I was saying before, ideally, I am still holding long setups. I want to touch on that as well. Besides the shorts that we're holding, we're still holding a bullish position or a long setup off of this structure here. I'll go ahead and touch on this. Where is it? All right. In this case, it's kind of hard to tell, but if I zoom in here, the ever so slight wick, but we did get a wick lower past the A wave. And to me, that is a valid setup. So as long as price is above 15,462, you would pretty much be holding this. And this is something I want to touch on next, which is the continuation method. The continuation setup is something that I've been using in over the past couple months, and I would say it's definitely been helpful to kind of maximize the move, or at least maximize the potential of larger moves in the market. What the continuation setup is is pretty much what you're going to do. I'll show you an example here. This is an example of a trade that I did take in the past. And hopefully here soon, within, I would say the next week or so, I'll be able to take profit on the longs and use that as an example too. But we do have a short setup here that we've taken before the FTX dump. Let's see. We were in this ABC. All right. And then the pivot of that is going to be around 21,137. And from there, all you're doing is you're taking a short setup and then you're waiting for another available short setup on a similar or same size perspective. And all you're anticipating is you're waiting for, let's say this is the one that we took. All right. We were waiting for price to give us another opportunity to go ahead and take a short from and try to ride the continuation of the larger downtrend, if that was the case. In this case, it wasn't, but it's a good area to take profit, and it gives you an extra layer of security because you don't truly know where the market is going to go. What this does a beautiful job of is, one, giving you a point to take profit, even though sometimes it might not be the most ideal. Ideally, you would want to take profit at the bottom, but you have to look at things from a more realistic perspective. No one can really time the bottom. The market can give us an opportunity or a setup to possibly trade the bottom, but we truly don't know if this is going to be a bottom. So one, it gives you an extra layer of security by allowing you to take profit and also give you a good probability setup to ride the continuation downward. At this point, we were looking for a continuation to the downside to try to at least get one more low, but we didn't. That did not happen. So we did walk away with profit. We did not, take advantage of further downside. But if we didn't take that position or take that position off the table, we would have been stopped out pretty recently. Instead of trying to hold this and try to, aim for the complete, these lower lows and not giving up that position, we allowed ourselves to make the smart move and ride the potential continuation downward. I just want to go ahead and zoom out again and show you guys how you could have done that through the entirety of the bear market. I've talked about this in the past. I've also made videos on this, but this is just a good example of the continuation method here. Right. So all you're doing is you're looking for a short setup, and then all you're going to do is look for another available short setup on the same perspective or similar size. All right. And all you're going to do is just take profit and re-enter at the proper setup or the proper continuation setup that the market gives you. In this case, I'm just going to use this red line as the entry. We're going to go ahead, take the initial trade, and then we're finding another ABC. We're going to go ahead and wait for another bear setup, take profit, exit this position, and then enter this one. And you're just going to do the same thing over and over again. Wait for larger viable options that are on a similar perspective or similar size, and then you're going to just keep doing the same thing. And this situation wasn't the best. You didn't make the most profit on this setup, but this gives you an extra layer of security, and it also allows you to compound, the gains you made from these prior two positions and allow you to ride a momentum even further. Same thing again. You're waiting for another short opportunity that's similar in size or perspective. In this case, this is a much larger setup. You're going to go ahead and take profit off of this entry here and re-enter here. You're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again until you just can't do it no more. We have an ABC within the C in this type of situation here. Unfortunately, it wasn't the cleanest, but this is considered a larger setup for me. And then we took the entry off of the C wave here. Same thing, take profit off the prior setup. This is something, unfortunately, I wasn't able to capitalize on until recently. But now going forward, if we are going into a bull market, we're going to be showing you guys along the way how we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing on the way up, if that is the case. But same kind of scenario here. And then you're just going to keep doing the same thing here. Wait for another bearish ABC. And then eventually, we stopped taking these positions just because we didn't find a good enough setup here. But we took profit on the last setup, and then you're just going to wait until you find a much larger viable option on a short setup to go ahead and take it. But we're going to be doing the exact same thing for bullish setups. Going back to what I was saying before on like a 1 to 2 hour, is we do have, this ABC here. and we're just going to keep doing the same thing. Instead of taking short positions, we're going to be taking long positions. We're going to be waiting for a larger pullback, something like that. Maybe, oh yeah, something about this size would be nice. And then go ahead, take a long position there. Hopefully, like I said, if this is going to be a larger bull market, we're going to be able to take advantage of larger potential swings to the upside and just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Once price gets up to a higher region, wait for another ABC pullback, right? Take the next long setup and just keep riding the wave up. This is kind of just an example, but I'll show you. I'll be posting setups in David's group, as well as showing you guys the continuation method. And if you guys have any questions on that, please feel free to let me know. But that's basically the take profit. Well, I wouldn't say. Yeah, no, we're gonna go ahead and say it. This is going to be the best take profit method I have seen over the past couple of years of doing so. We've messed around with a couple things, try to take profit on reversal setups using fibs. To me, this offers the best profit to security ratio method of taking profit, in my opinion. So for me personally, we're going to just be rolling with it. Same thing when it comes to this short. Hopefully, even though if we do get a larger bullish setup, I'm going to be waiting for another bearish setup to go ahead and take profit. And like I said, I'll go ahead and show you guys once if this is going to be the drop, if we are going to get a larger pullback, I'll let you guys know how that is going to work out or how that plays out, how I do things as price continues to develop. But that's pretty much it for BTC. Like I said, I'll illustrate where I'm shorting from, which is this pivot here at around 23,394. As long as we're below that, things are looking good for shorts, as well as I'm continuing to hold my long position until the market gives me a reason to let go of it. As of right now, I do not have a reason to let go of it yet. And yeah, we'll continue with ETH and LTC here in a moment, but just letting you guys know that's pretty much all I'm looking for at the moment. And let's go ahead and touch on Ethereum. So Ethereum has been a little bit I guess different at how it's been playing out. One of the things you'll see going on between LTC, ETH, and BTC, which is pretty much the main three I like to trade, is that you'll see how price develops slightly different between all three. But most of the time we can generally come up with the same idea or the same concepts between all three of the coins. For ETH, larger A to a B to a C. If this is going to be a larger ABC, the question is this the beginning of something or is this the end of something? Like I said, there's two different ways to view this. This could be the beginning of something where we're working on a much larger A. We're possibly working on a B, and we're coming down for a C. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind. If this is going to be the scenario, okay? Me personally, until we make a new high, this could be a B wave. All right. And we could just be working our way down now. It might take a long time to get there, but we can easily come down and put in a lower low. If this is the case, the low to break is the pivot of this. Let's see. The low to break is the pivot of this larger A wave here. Is that around 873? So if we can come back below and then come back, if we can get back below this region, come back above, this will complete a larger bullish structure. But we can easily come up, put another high around 2031. If that is the case, I will just be moving the B wave over to here. And it looks like we could possibly get a larger ABC within the B before continuing lower to much lower lows. That is a complete valid argument. If someone decided to show this to me, I would definitely be on the side of this is a good possibility. And going over what could be happening as well is a larger A to a B to a C, and maybe this is the bottom. We don't know exactly what is in store. All we can do is basically say, hey, we do have setups to show both sides. Like I said, at this point, we need that low to be broken in order to the first idea to be valid. If that isn't the case, we can view this as a larger A to a B to a C, right? Similar to the first setup, but maybe this is just one leg of a larger bull market, right? Maybe we're making an ABC here. We will come down, form another larger ABC here, and then possibly show a much larger continuation of the upside to where we do put in much higher highs past the previous top here around 4,000. If I zoom out, something like this could absolutely be in the cards as well. And maybe we did touch bottom at around 875. Like I said before, and I will say throughout this and the entirety of this stream in future streams is that I just don't know. My job isn't to predict where the market is going to go. My job is to show you what it could do, and it's not going to be exact on how I do my drawings, but for me personally, it's going to be something around similar to that. Or, we can get something in the variation of similar to what's going on here, but instead of a larger B wave, maybe just an A, come down for a B, larger C, and then, we can develop it in a different way as well. But either we can make the argument for we're coming down lower, we're just making a larger structure before reversing, or this is the bottom and we're just slowly making our way up to the upside. So now that we're done with the larger perspective, let's go ahead and kind of zoom in on what's been going on now. Keeping that in mind, if that is the case, this is going to be a larger A to a B to a C. All right. And now, unlike BTC, unfortunately, we did not put in a lower low past that low, the low of this A here. We did get a double bottom. So for me, that does not count as a completed structure. So I have to go back and illustrate it as a larger ABC. If that is the case, well, I mean, this was the case for now, but the low or the pivot to maintain above is 1180, 1178. As you can see, we kind of danced around this region, but ultimately found support, and now we made a push to the upside. And same kind of thing goes for ETH. I'll go ahead and touch on that here in a little bit. But I will show you guys, I'm still holding this position. I'm just waiting for the market to give me a good opportunity to take profit. And I think we're coming up on that here shortly. I'll go ahead and, like I said, as we're continuing to show you the ideas, I'm going to show you where I'm looking to take profit and where I'm looking to continue or take the continuation setup. But as of now, still holding this long position, and keeping that in mind, I want to show you this as well. We do have a possibility of price possibly doing something like this. I'm not saying this is the case, but you can make the argument for this as well. So I'm keeping that in mind. Or let's go over one more scenario, actually. Maybe this is just a larger A to possible larger B to continuation higher to a C. If that is the case, we don't know where price is going to go. My job is just to give you the best setups and try to play the larger move to either direction. So keeping that in mind, if we are going to continue lower, where's a good short setup to get into? A couple people have asked me about this. I'll go ahead and touch on it here. I use Bybit's chart, and on Bybit's chart, we do have a larger A to a B to a C. All right, you did have a retest of that level here at around 1657. Right, and as long as we're below that, I don't want that pink. As long as you're below that, I am looking for a little bit more of a downturn. There is a little bit more bearish pressure, but it doesn't necessarily have to hold. If you go to like I'm not sure, might be able to type this. Let's do this, be easier. If we go to a Coinbase chart, you can see that we did not put in that higher wick here. So unfortunately, you do have a smaller setup, a different setup to enter off of. But just me personally, I just did not take this. We do have this ABC here. You could have played this, but you would have had a headache, to be honest. But this would have been this is still a valid setup. But ultimately, what you could be waiting for as well is waiting for something like this, where price comes up, puts in a higher high, and that would be a lot more of a confident short to take a short off of. But like I said as well, until that higher high is made, you have to kind of stick to this 16, 13, 94 setup. But for Bybit, it formed just a little bit different just because of that initial wick to the upside. So for me personally, that's a good enough structure for me to take a trade off of, just because I believe Bybit is a high liquidity exchange, and to me, even though there was a lot of volatility in this wick, to me it's a valid wick in this kind of scenario. If it was a smaller exchange where it's less liquidity, prone to more wicks like this, even on like smaller time frames, I would question it a little bit. But Bybit doesn't do this too often. When it does, I still think it holds some sort of value. So for me, it's worth to go ahead and take that setup. So long as ETH is above 1657, or sorry, below 1657, go ahead and remain short. The continuation setup I'm looking to take, and I'll let you guys know when I do decide to do it, is this ABC long position here. If we can remain, or sorry, if we can get back below the pivot of this A here around 1513, even though I could be not so confident in this setup, doesn't really matter. It's an area for me to take profit on. So pretty much as soon as price crosses below this pivot of the bottom of this wick, based on the A structure or the A wave of this structure around 1511, I'm going to go ahead and take profit and just either re-enter or wait for price to go ahead. Well, actually, no, I will re-enter. Sorry, scratch that. I'm going to re-enter as soon as price gets back above and we have a completed setup. Regardless of if I'm confident in that setup or not, me personally, oh, you know what? I need to do something. Can you guys hear me okay on the YouTube side? I just realized I should have checked. I should have checked that from the beginning. I completely forgot about that. Check. Everything's fine? Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. Okay. So going back to what I said before, I don't know why that just randomly popped up in my head. I apologize for getting off track a little bit. But like I said, I'm ideally looking for this setup to form. If this forms and we do reverse, fantastic. It's an opportunity for us to ride the momentum of the continuation higher. If not, it's a good area for me to take profit, lock in the profits from down here, and kind of wait for price to either drop and give me another setup, or wait for price to kind of consolidate and eventually come back up and give me this long position, something like that. So as of right now, these are the setups I'm waiting for Ethereum at the moment. And yeah, let me go ahead and just highlight these levels for you guys. All right, and then from there, we're gonna move on to Litecoin. All right, so for LTC, like I said, a lot of between LTC, ETH, and BTC, they've been behaving slightly different. You can almost come up with the same conclusions though. We'll go ahead and explain that in a moment here. What I mean by that is we do have a larger ABC. Okay. A, B, C. Now, is this setup the beginning or the end of something? To me, you can make valid arguments for both. We're going to go over both sides here. Maybe this is the beginning of something to where we have a larger A to a B to a C. We're working on a much larger B and waiting for a continuation downwards for a C. All right. If that is the case, we need to get back, because we had a clear break of trend from the previous downtrend. I need to see this low of about 40, 48 to be broken. If that is the case, that's going to complete this much larger bullish structure. The other alternative is maybe we're not done. All right. Maybe we are done. Maybe this ABC was the bottom. All right. If that is the case, we kind of have to focus on this area of price action here, because this is going to show a larger separation in trend, right? Or this signifies a much larger separation in trend. We kind of have to focus on what's going on here and see what we could come up with in this area. So I'll make a scenario for both sides just to kind of back up the first idea, just in case you guys are a little bit more willing to trade that side. Let's see. We do have a larger A to a B to a C for an a very rapid B, and a continuation of a C. Okay. As you can see, the C wave is very extended past the pivot of the A. So now we can focus on an A to a B to a C within the C. Right. For me, the main pivot is going to be around 85.40. This is a setup I think you guys can definitely look for if you guys are willing to trade the larger potential reversal. I'll just go over a couple of possibilities of what could be happening as well. But for me, that is a fantastic setup. That's something I'm taking. That's what I'm waiting to take. And hopefully we can get a larger move to the downside. Now, what if this was that low that we talked about before was the possible well, let's say this is the pivot of the A. We're looking for one more leg down. Like I said, we do have a much larger A to a B to a C. All right, I'm going to draw that here in yellow. If that is the case, this is the setup that will take us down back to those lower lows. Okay. If that isn't the case, we could be just in for a pullback. All right. Even though we do have a larger ABC here, which I highlighted before, this could just be one very large A. Maybe we're due for a larger B. All right. And then we're going to continue higher for a larger C or continue the uptrend. Now, you guys can see, regardless of what scenario you're looking to trade, I think we're due for a larger pullback on LTC. If the pullback, continues further and crosses below, that's going to signify a larger completed structure. Until that happens, you could treat this as a larger pullback and wait for a continuation higher, in my opinion. But yeah, that's pretty much the main scenario, or the two main scenarios for LTC at the moment. Both lead me to look for a short position at this region around 85.51. Whether it's a pullback or a continuation to the lower low, we don't know. All we can do is take that position and let price decide what it wants to do. And hopefully, maybe if this is just a pullback, we can catch a larger ABC set up here. It doesn't exactly like this, but something to that size, and maybe we can catch a reversal, and then catch an opportunity to ride the next wave to the upside. Like I said, that's only if this is going to be a pullback. I'm not too sure. If price gives me that opportunity to take it, I will absolutely take it. But at the moment, we don't have that kind of setup yet. And that's pretty much it for LTC. Anybody else want me to look at anything else? We can do ADA if people want. Maybe I'll do ADA and I'll have someone else pick one other coin. So for ADA, what we'll do is, me personally, I'm focusing on, like I said, even though we have a larger structure, what could be happening or what could be going on or what the possibility is for the larger trend to play out. One of the things we could consider is this becoming a larger A to a larger B to a C, or actually, let me mark out that pivot before I continue. Or we can have something like this, to where maybe we bottom off of this larger structure here. Where is? I'm not the biggest fan of how this developed, in my opinion. This looks like just one straight shot down based off what I've seen, but you can break this down into smaller trends. This looks like an A to B. Yeah, A, B, C. And we're kind of sitting close to that pivot of the A. So if we can get back above that, as you can see, we're kind of using it as resistance right now. If we can maintain above that 40-cent region, that's going to be more of a macro pivot for me. That's something I will definitely take into consideration. I'm probably going to end up buying some ADA spot off of this play, or take a macro long position here. But ideally, we want price to get back above there, but we're kind of using it as resistance. Let's go over and look at the smaller structure here and try to see if we can figure out some opportunities. Now, for me personally, I'm going to just be focusing on this trend here just because this is what could be deciding whether we continue upward or putting in a low. Based on what I see here, this looks like a larger A to a B to a C. It shows a much larger separation in trend. And then we do have an ABC within the C. I would say, if anything, I would probably go ahead and take this setup here, right, at around 38.70, around, 0.3875. As long as we're below there, things are looking pretty bearish. The question is this going to be a larger reversal or a larger pullback? Ultimately, to me, all this looks like one larger trend. So even though, yes, we are shorting, this could be, or you would be shorting, this could be a larger pullback where we find a continuation higher and, break that 40-cent resistance. That would be a good case scenario. Hopefully, if that is the case, we can catch a long position here and ride the momentum up higher. But yeah, that's pretty much the main scenario, what I'm looking for ADA. I don't see any bullish setups at the moment, but that's just primarily what I'm looking for, what I would like to see for ADA or how ADA to play out. Let's see. I know BNB is a big favorite here. Do you guys want me to do that, or do you guys want me to do something else? Let me go ahead and just check the Discord as well while we're doing that. Okay. Bidarius said I'd be interested in Sol and or Matic. Let's do. I know I did Sol on my last stream. We'll do an exclusive here. We'll do Bidarius. We'll do for Bidarius. We'll do Matic. I'll do BNB and Matic as well. Actually, I want to just do something quick while I'm here. Okay. I just wanted to fix that because it's causing some issues, some lagging issues. Okay. Let's do BNB, and then I'll go ahead and touch on Matic quick for Bidarius here. Wonder what has the most price history. There you go. Now my keyboard's working perfect. Okay. So, for BNB, let's we go to 8 hours before I make that. Okay. So for BNB, it's sitting in an interesting spot. We do have a larger A to a B to a C. All right. On the larger scale, on the macro scale, it is sitting above its pivot of the A. So things are looking pretty good for BNB. Doesn't mean that it's over. You could make an argument that this is a larger A. We're working on a B and then possibly working for a C. That is also a valid setup as well. So if that is the case, you want to see a low, or the low of around, what is this? 183.30 to be broken. If we do get a break of that low, that's going to show us a larger completed structure. Doesn't necessarily have to, though. You could play devil's advocate and say that we bottomed off of this ABC. If that is the case, what's going on in this area of price action? In order for us to figure that out, we have to kind of zoom in a little bit. All right. To me, this looks like a larger A to a B to a C to complete an A. Where we finished the B wave and based off of this ABC. And it looks like, we could be coming up for a higher high. But ultimately, like I said, I'm probably looking for a larger pullback, something like this. And then where we continue higher. That's at the very least what I'm looking for. Let's see. You do have a short position that's decent on BNB at the moment. It'll be off of this ABC. So you basically be playing this pivot and waiting and anticipating this this either pullback or larger reversal off of this setup. That entry is going to be just below 314.50. So if we can maintain below that, bears are definitely in a little bit more bearish pressure is there for BNB at the current moment, but that could easily change. But like I said, we could either come down put in a lower low past this pivot, or maybe just adjust a pullback. And maybe we're looking for a pullback before continuing higher. So I'll be waiting for a clear setup to show a possible reversal point to where we can use this as a larger pullback scenario and ride the wave higher. Still doesn't have to happen at all, but ultimately that's what I'm looking for. All right. Let's do Matic quick for Binarius. All right, so for Matic, I want to just focus on this area of price action. I mean, we do have the larger trend here, but for me personally, actually, I might need to find something else with more price history. Oh, come on. I was just saying my keyboard was working. Oh, there it is. Oh, maybe not. Matic. Oh. This is great, guys. Why is my keyboard doing this? Come on. There we go. I think, yeah. Yep, this is more like it. Okay. So for Matic, we do have a larger ABC setup, which did complete this larger trend here throughout the entirety of the bull market. This is not gonna, I guess I'll pull it to the bottom just to show you guys an example. But since this is completed, I have to focus on what is going on past this peak. Okay. For me, there's a couple of different scenarios. Main one is we could be doing something like this on the more drastic bearish side of things. All right. We do have a setup that shows, that gives us that as of right now, we're currently above that pivot, but let's go over. All right, let's just go over this area of price action here. If that is the case, we are looking for a reversal here. Another possibility of what could be happening is maybe this is just a larger A to a B to a C. Absolutely could be in the cards. Whether this reverses at that pivot or we continue to go higher will be the determining factor of how this is going to play out. So that is a major pivot to keep an eye on for Matic. So just keep your eyes on that once we get up to that region around $1.30, $1.30.5. If we can get above there and get back below, definitely a sign for the bears. But if you just blow straight through it and we never see a reclaim of that low or that high, definitely look for higher price regions or higher price points. So for you Binarius, I would say around $1.30 just to keep that in mind. That is a very important pivot to maintain, or at least to look at and observe as we get up to that region. Okay, let's see. All right, so now let's move over to, let's make sure I didn't miss any questions or anything. Okay, thank you very much. No problem, my friend. Let's go ahead and just touch on traditional markets. Okay, so the SPY is playing out in a very interesting way. First things first, very large ABC, right? And we're coming off, this is a larger pullback off of the, I guess, the bull market that started after COVID. So this is going to be a possible larger A to a B to a C, right? Very well could be in the cards. If that is the case, I need to see that high of the previous high here be broken. Let's just make sure I got it a little bit more accurately. All right. If that is the case, that is going to be a very, very bearish sign. That is not looking good. I definitely would start growing gardens in my backyard. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's definitely not good for traditional assets. If we can't maintain those highs, there's nothing saying that we have to come back below and maintain below those levels. If we do come up and reclaim those, if we come back below those highs once we break the new high, not good, but we can easily just keep going. We'll have to see how this develops if we do get up to that region. Another scenario which you can definitely come up with and say it's a valid setup is where we have an ABC completed structure here, right? The pivot to maintain above is that 362.19, right? This can easily become an A to a B to a C scenario. This I'm probably a little bit more inclined to stick to. This is gonna be, I guess, my potential bias or my main setup I'm looking for the S&P. We come up, put in a larger ABC for the B wave, and then we're looking for another continuation downward. If that is the case, we need to get back below 348.02 and get a reclaim above to show that this is a larger completed structure. If we do form this setup, I'm definitely going to be a lot more bullish for assets just because this is a very large structure on a very large time frame. For a stock that, it takes a very long time to move. This is going to be when did this initial downtrend start? Back in around let's say about a year ago. So this is going to take a while to form if this is going to be the case, but this is going to be a very strong bullish setup for me to keep an eye on. So if we do come back down and break the low, you can see that would be a completed setup for me. And I'll definitely be more bullish if we can get below and back above that region. So pretty much what it comes down to, I'm not really too focused on the in-between on how this is going to develop just for the S&P. I'm more focused on the main pivots. If we either get above, a reclaim above here, even if we do get this bullish setup that I just recently talked about to complete and we do come up, definitely be a little bit more cautious up in this regions. But if we do get that setup, I'm definitely going to be a little bit more confident in price coming up and just breaking straight through that region. But if we just come straight up and put in a higher high, I'd be a little bit nervous. That's just my opinion. But those are the main pivots for the S&P to keep an eye on. Now, I know you guys are probably going to look for or want to see the DXY because there is definitely some inverse correlation involved when it comes to the DXY. The main thing I want to look at first is look at a larger scale setup here. And as you can see, I have one already drawn, but this is going to be a larger A, B, C for an A, B, C for a B, and then we have a larger A, B, C for a C. Okay. That's what I came up with those lines, how that works for me. And we were left with a larger ABC setup. The pivot to basically maintain below, if the DXY wants to be bearish, is going to be 103.84. Now, I know someone brought this up last time I did this. Some people asked me if I'm looking for ultimate lows on Bitcoin, on Ethereum and all that, doesn't that go against the bearishness of the DXY? The goal is to kind of paint a larger perspective of what I think could be going on. Now, if I say one thing on the DXY, I'll let you guys come up with that idea that, hey, if we continue lower, if this is a bearish setup, maybe we are looking for a much stronger push to the upside for assets if the dollar keeps falling. But if we can get back above and maintain above 103, for me, you can also make a claim that we're working on another ABC here, and maybe we're coming up to putting new highs. We don't know. For me, it's just identifying the more important levels that matter. And from there, we can come up with ideas in a trade plan. Like I said, I try my best to give you guys both scenarios, both sides of the coin for each coin that we went over. Hopefully, depending on how the DXY reacts, obviously can affect Bitcoin prices, asset prices in general. So just keep in mind, whether you agree to one side that I might think of one coin or the other, or even the DXY, the most important thing to keep and understand is the pivots that matter and understanding how price respects them. If price can respect this high or this ABC here and we continue lower, yes, even though I did make a bearish claim for a lot of assets like BTC ETH, I also made bullish claims as well, or there's bullish case scenarios. So maybe the bullish setups are more in favor. Ideally, regardless of what scenario is going to play out, I'm going to do my best to try to ride the momentum of either side. And for me, I need to find setups that give me that opportunity. So, Yeah, ultimately, you could, as long as we're below 103, we are looking bearish on the DXY, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to hold. We can definitely come up, put in a new high, and then, start another ABC. And maybe from there, we can even break straight through that and continue higher. And maybe prices do drop on Bitcoin. Yeah, I have no clue. So that's pretty much the most important level to keep an eye on. Like I said, if we do continue to pump, the next region is going to be that 114. But ultimately, as long as we're below 103, the DXY does look pretty bearish, in my opinion. Let's go over. Does anyone else have anything they want me to look up traditional asset wise? I know Vlad wants you to do BMW, and I promise I will do BMW. All right, I'll do gold and silver. If you guys want me to look at anything else, let me know. But we'll just touch on gold and silver quick. So pretty much for gold, ultimately, I'm looking for a larger ABC to play out here. We have a completed B wave off of this pivot. This ABC has completed here. We did not put a higher high past the zero, so this does count as a larger ABC. So as long as we're above 1674, things are looking bullish. The macro pivot from this ABC is around 1927. Sorry, 1922, 24. But ultimately, looking for a push higher past the 2079 region. If that is the case, we can go ahead and look at a much larger bearish reversal setup. But as of now, we're kind of in the middle of this area here. So because of the bullishness of this ABC, I am ultimately looking for higher, but doesn't necessarily have to happen. Those are the main levels to keep an eye out on. Let's do silver quick. Silver, pretty much same scenario. We do have this multi-decade ABC. I'm highlighted that pivot, but I'm not too keen on that level just because it's a large setup. You got to think of it more as a range, as an actual strict level, just because it's such a large structure. But keeping that in mind, we're focusing on how this area of price action can develop. To me, one of the scenarios is we have an A where either the B has topped out here or we're looking for another push higher to form another B wave and then come down and possibly put in another low. Or we can just easily, have that ABC here be complete. And maybe we are on our way up to testing new highs. Maybe this is just a pullback and we're kind of come up and test higher. I'm not too sure. At the end of the day, I'm going to mark out pivots for you guys to keep an eye out on. That's a bullish pivot. This is going to be a bullish pivot. So if we come back below and then get back above 1755, that's going to complete a larger B wave. And I'm ultimately looking for a higher high. If we could fail and continue lower, that's going to show me that this is a larger A to a B to a C, something like this. I'll show you guys quick. Come on. All right. If that is not the case, and let's say we pump up higher, we do have we have a bearish pivot here off of that ABC. Let's see. And then ultimately we have this high here to mark out the ultimate ABC. That's going to be the larger pivot, and it's going to be off of this structure here. So these are the levels to keep an eye on. I'll go ahead and just mark the labels out for you guys. And hopefully, we'll see what happens, how silver respects these levels. And you guys we might be able to take trades off of these. These are respectable levels, in my opinion. I think these are definitely pivots to keep an eye out on. But yeah, it's pretty much gold and silver. Let's see. I'll do BMW quick for Vlad. If anyone else wants me to look at something else traditional asset wise, please feel free to chime in. Also, like I said, if you guys have any questions, it doesn't have to be till the end. You guys can ask me whenever. I'll do my best to keep an eye out on chat. If you have any questions regarding ABCs, how I view things, how I come up with my trades, my setups, please feel free to ask. For BMW, ultimately, I'm looking for a push higher to 123. We do have a completed ABC within the B. We're currently holding above that region. So this is developing pretty well, going up to, let's see, a 4 hour. Yeah, and we're going to just be focusing on this area of price action. If that is going to be the case, we are going to break that larger high. Where is it? This one here. If we are going to break this pivot here of this high, what I want to see is either this becoming a completed A, we have a rapid drop to a B, and we continue higher for a C, or maybe we're forming a much larger ABC here, and this is going to complete a larger B wave. All right, what I mean by that is this is going to be a larger A, and maybe this is going to be a larger ABC. All right, and maybe we're going to look at something like this. And let's just clean this up for you guys. So maybe I'm looking for something like this. If we can get back below 84.27, I'm definitely going to be waiting for or looking for a drop lower to this pivot here around 67.60. And then I can go ahead and look for higher highs. But doesn't necessarily have to happen. If we're above 84.27, things are looking pretty good. You know, we do have this bearish pivot here at around the peak here at around, what is that? Oh, that's actually pretty close. 148. So if we get back above that, you know, that could be a reversal point, but I honestly think we're going to keep pushing upward and test that high 123.65. So, let's see. All right. Does anyone else pick something for me? All right. I'll go ahead and just do. See, Is Tesla a good one? Okay. All right, we can do Tesla real quick. So for Tesla, we do have this larger A, BC for an A, B, C for a B. We have a larger C here. Now, does this mean it's done? Possibly. You know, we are continuing higher here. I should have bought some more Tesla. I only bought like one share around this region. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. So if that is the case, I need to get back. I need to see Tesla get back above 207. Another scenario, what could be happening is that maybe the C leg is extending further, and maybe we're working on a much larger A to a B to a C. If that is the case, I need to see the low of this pivot around 102 be broken. And then I can go ahead and be a little bit, more bullish on that and try to catch the swing higher. But that doesn't necessarily have to happen. If we can continue to push above 207, things are definitely looking good for Tesla at that pivot there for me. There's really no bear setup at the moment. Ultimate bear setup for me would be cross back above 417 to show me this as a larger structure. And to me, I'd be a little bit more worried about Tesla here. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the end for the company, but definitely doesn't look good if we can get back above 417.58. All right. And that's pretty much going to wrap it up, guys, for everything that I have here. We've gone over BTC, main coins that I trade, some alts. We went over traditional markets. The S&P, DXY, some companies here, BMW, Tesla. We also went over gold, silver. I didn't give you guys the levels that I'm looking for, some of the setups I would be looking for all the coins mentioned or everything that we looked at. So yeah, if you guys have any questions regarding my strategy, my setups, how I do things, please feel free to ask. If you guys are here watching via YouTube or Twitch or you guys are here in the Discord, please feel free to ask. I believe I'm all caught up on. Yes, I'm all caught up on Discord. So if you guys have any questions for me, now's your time to ask. If not, I invite you guys to. I left my YouTube channel in the link in the description of the YouTube and Twitch. I would love to have you guys on the channel. You guys can come in. I stream 3 times a week on that channel, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So tomorrow around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be going live. As well as, if you guys are coming from David's community, if you guys are in David's Discord, I do post my setups. I do post, I'll let you guys know what I'm doing at the time, what I'm primarily looking for. And from there, you guys can ask me questions in David's Discord, as well as you guys can private message me as well. If you guys aren't in my group, excuse me, if you guys aren't in my group or David's group, and if you do decide to DM me, unfortunately, I get caught up in a lot of DMs. So if I do lose you guys, I apologize. Just let me know. Just send me like a double text or double message, so that make sure I don't miss your question or anything you might have, or any questions you might have. So yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap it up for me. Like I said, I invite you guys to check out the channel, link in the description below if you guys are interested in learning more from me and my methods. And hopefully these shorts play out. We can go ahead and I'll show you guys the after effect if this is going to play out. Hopefully it does, though. Things are looking pretty good in my opinion for the short side at least. But thank you guys again. I really appreciate you. I'll be here next week around the same time. Same things, going over my thoughts, my process, and allow you guys to ask me any questions you might have. Love to have you. Love to have you come by, say hello, and hopefully we can hopefully I can give you guys some good TA, let you guys know how I do things. So until then, I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Look forward to see you guys on the next one or on the channel. Until then, be good, be safe, and I'll catch you guys next week.